Top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. enjoys a first-hand experience of riding an FA-50 fighter jet during the Air Force capability demonstration flight in Clark Air Base, Pampanga.
The Philippine Coast Guard assures the security of fisher folks in the West Philippine Sea, despite the constant presence of Chinese vessels, especially near Pag-asa Island.
Senators grill both the suspects and the administration of the Adamson University on the death of hazing victim John Matthew Salili.
A strategic policy report accuses China of sinking the nuclear submarines deal of the trilateral alliance between Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, the 7th of March, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Arnie Delgado.
First in the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. had a first-hand experience of riding an FA-50 fighter jet during the Air Force capability demonstration flight in Clark Air Base, Pampanga. Nel Maribohok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. personally experienced riding an FA-50PH fighter jet this afternoon. He was escorted by 4 FA-50 fighter jets during the more than 30-minute ride. The Philippine Air Force gave the president the call sign Lawin during the flight. This is part of today's program of the Philippine Air Force turnover ceremony of the C-295 medium-lift aircraft and FA-50PH capability demonstration flight. In his speech, President Marcos Jr. expressed confidence that the acquisition of modern aircraft by the Air Force will ultimately improve the country's defense systems. PBBM pointed out that the country's archipelagic nature has been a challenge as it requires the government to constantly adapt to become more agile.
While this equipment will boost the readiness of our Air Force to respond to any contingency, there is still a need to further improve our capabilities to effectively cover our territory.
The chief executive added through the additional C-295 aircraft, the armed forces of the Philippines will be able to provide more responsive support to government agencies.
The country is also challenged by various climate-related hazards, which can potentially paralyze government and business operations. In these moments, the AFP is called on to do more. Through the additional C-295 aircraft, the AFP will be able to provide more responsive support to government agencies, especially in emergency situations, and on humanitarian assistance and disaster response operations.
Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine Coast Guard assures the security of fisher folks in the West Philippine Sea. This despite the constant presence of Chinese vessels, especially near Pag-asa Island. Asher Cadapan Jr. details why.
The Philippine Coast Guard has put up substations and deployed personnel in islands and shoals around the West Philippine Sea. This is to ensure the monitoring and continuing presence of the Philippine government in the disputed water. PCG Commandant Admiral Artemio Abo explains this as they secure the safety of fisher folks, especially in areas where they fish.
Nandun lagi yung barko natin, meron naman tayong kinrate na Task Force Pag-asa, so meron tayong dedicated vessel doon. Despite of this oil spill incident in Mindoro, meron tayong nakadedicate na barko doon sa ating presensya, pag-alaga natin sa ating mga mangingisda doon sa West Philippine Sea.
Last Saturday, the PCG reported more than 40 Chinese maritime militia vessels anchored near Pag-asa Island in the West Philippine Sea. But the PCG confirms the continuous presence of Chinese vessels in the vicinity. PCG Commodore J. Tariela says they tried conducting diplomatic challenges against the foreign vessels but to no avail.
Ang Coast Guard station po natin sa Pag-asa ay patuloy pong challenge ito over the radio, no? Na sinasabi na ang 12 nautical miles ng Pag-asa Island ay territorial sea ng Pilipinas at tayo ay may sovereignty rito. Ganun pa rin po ang ginagawa din po ng China. Sila naman po ay hindi nagre-responde sa tawag ng ating mga Coast Guard personnel.
The PCG, however, vows to continue protecting the Philippine territory and file diplomatic protest with China government through corresponding agencies. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves and 5 others are now facing multiple murder charges at the Department of Justice or DOJ. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group or PNP-CIDG and families of some victims of alleged assassination filed multiple murder complaints at the Department of Justice or DOJ this afternoon. The principal respondents is Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves and 5 others. Attorney Livito Baligod, legal counsel of the complainants, said the incidents of killings occurred in 2019. These include the murder of Provincial Board member Miguel Dungog in March 2019 in Dumaguete City. The other crimes happened in May and June of the same year.
4 pa lang ang na-file namin, but I think there will be more because in my record, based on the complainants, there were 12 murders committed between the period 2018 and 2019, involving one group of hired assassins.
Attorney Baligod added their witnesses are members of the assassination group ordered by Teves to kill the victims.
Inutusan sila mismo. No? They were summoned by, allegedly they were summoned by Congressman Teves, gave them the instructions to assassinate these victims, at marami pa silang detalye na sinabi.
Meanwhile, the UNTV News is continuously trying to get Congressman Teves' reaction over the complaints against him. Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Department of Justice or DOJ spokesperson Assistant Secretary Miko Clavano said that 2 of the 4 suspects who are under the PNP custody are now willing to cooperate with the investigation over the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and some other civilians. Hence, the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI and the Philippine National Police or PNP agreed to transfer them to the NBI's custody. This is for further investigation of the crime. The other 2 suspects were already transferred to the NBI this morning.
However, today, medyo nag-signify ng intention na maglabas din ng statement yung dalawa na naiwan sa PNP custody. Kaya we're arranging for the transfer again of these 2 respondents to the custody of NBI.
The Philippine National Police is waiting for the report of their regional offices on the list of the hotspot areas in the country. This is after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. instructed the PNP to identify areas with immediate concern due to intense political rivalry. PNP spokesperson Police Colonel Jean Fajardo said after identifying the areas with concern, the PNP will deploy additional forces to maintain peace and order in the area.
Ang direktiba po ng ating presidente ay alamin na kung saan ng mga areas yung may mga intense political rivalry para kasama po yan actually doon sa ginagawa pong threat assessment ng PNP sa ngayon at iniintay lamang po nating makumpleto ito. Ito yung magiging giya po ng PNP kung kailangan pong magdagdag ng additional personnel doon po sa mga areas na may mga namomonitor po tayo na mga intense political rivalry at iba pang mga presence po ng mga local terrorist groups at mga armadong grupo para kahit paano po ay ma-stabilize yung sitwasyon po doon sa mga areas na ma-identify po natin na mga hotspots po.
The PNP effort comes after the recent attacks against 5 local chief executives in just less than 3 weeks.
The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, states that the iconic image of the traditional Jeep while pushing for a public utility vehicle modernization program remains an issue. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, said it was open to retaining the iconic look of traditional jeepneys. But the Regulatory Board reiterated that it should be compliant with the Philippine national standards set by the Bureau of Philippine Standards under the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI. LTFRB Chairman Attorney Chofilo Guadis III made the statement in response to the suggestion of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to look into allowing traditional jeepneys that can still ply their routes, which are still deemed roadworthy. In a statement, Guadis said that retaining the iconic image of a traditional jeepney is possible and the jeepney phase-out is very remote. Yesterday, a transport group presented a modified jeepney that still bears the same traditional look in the central office of the Regulatory Board. Meanwhile, the Office of the Transportation Cooperatives explains the advantage of joining or forming a transport cooperative, which is a component of the Public Utility Vehicle or PUV Modernization Program. Its chairperson, Jesus Ferdinand Ortega, said cooperative members could have more benefits than fragmented operators existing in traditional jeepneys.
Kaya nilang pagtulungan kung paano ma-maintain ang mga sasakyan, kaya nilang pagtulungan ang gastusin, kaya nilang pag-usapan paano ma-improve yung kanilang mga buhay, magkaka-SSS sila, magkaka-PhilHealth, magkaka-insurance. So napakalayo ng isang sitwasyon ng isang jeepney driver kumpara nung siya ay mag-isa lamang at kumpara kung siya ay may kooperatiba.
Ortega said they have the plan to visit transport organizations to explain the advantages of joining and forming cooperatives. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, assures that there is enough supply of fish in areas affected by the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro. The agency will also help by providing livelihood assistance to affected fisher folks. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The coast of Oriental Mindoro provides different seafoods even in Metro Manila, according to the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR. But BFAR Chief Information Officer Neisser Briguera said that other sources can become alternatives because the country has a vast supply of aquaculture fish species like milkfish and tilapia. BFAR initially allocated 4 million pesos for the livelihood of around 10,000 families in Pola and Nauhan folks.
Well, dahil hindi naman talaga sila makakapangisda, ang isang naiisip ng ahensya ay yung trading through the upland isda. No? Yung isda mula sa Occidental Mindoro, dadalhin, tapos mag-trade doon yung mga apektadong mga mangingisda.
But BFAR clarifies that commercial fishing vessels can still operate because the areas where they conduct fishing activities are not affected by the oil spill.
May proposal ngayon na one landing station lang para sa commercial fishing para na-monitor kung visually ba may mga yung isdang nahuli, tapos may sensory evaluation kung may amoy ba siya, so titingnan para nagkakaroon pa rin ng control.
Briguera said that they are just waiting for the result of the laboratory test of the waters in affected areas, which will last for 2 weeks. This will be their basis if they can declare the areas safe for fisher folks to conduct fishing activities. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for our news abroad, a strategic policy report has suggested that China is attempting to use the online information environment to undermine Pacific nations' democracies and relationships with other partners. Marvi Delfin will give us the details live. Marvi?
Kath, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, or ASPI, has raised concerns about the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, trying to stir a negative view of the trilateral AUKUS alliance between Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. In the report, which was released today, March 7, authors Blake Johnson and Joshua Dunn highlighted CCP's recent efforts to sign a region-wide security agreement following the AUKUS partnership announcement in September 2021. The analysis also expands on a previous report on China's growing influence on the Solomon Islands through party-state media channels and increasing drive to condition the Pacific countries to defer to China as the global power. However, despite the disinformation which ASPI claims to be coming out of Beijing through groups linked to the CCP's United Front, the ASPI assures that there was limited success in swaying public opinion and that the sentiment has actually shifted to the West. Meanwhile, the Australian government is expected to disclose its process of acquiring nuclear submarines through the AUKUS alliance in mid-March, with Defense Minister Richard Marles calling this as a genuine collaboration between all three countries. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Marvi Delfin, for that report live from Australia. To help ensure the security of Europe's skies and around the region, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, will set out air policing missions over the Baltic nation of Estonia, which shares its eastern border with Russia. The United Kingdom will be sending 300 Royal Air Force personnel to lead the mission, while Germany will provide Typhoon jets, according to British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace. Wallace also mentioned that this operation is an indication of NATO's unity amidst the ongoing Russian threat. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year, tensions between Russia and NATO remain high, and the organization's member states highly condemn Moscow's actions. Russian authorities has been expressing their concerns about the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO and its eastern expansion. Although NATO has not sent any of its troops to Ukraine, it has rallied behind Ukraine even though the country is a non-member state. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Kath. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Senators grilled both the suspects and the administration of the Adamson University on the death of John Matthew Salilig. Following the incident, several lawmakers are now looking into stiffer penalties for schools under the Anti-Hazing Law. This report will tell us why.
7 of the suspects in John Matthew Salilig's death appeared before the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights today. Master initiator Daniel Petty, or alias Sting, admitted that he knew hazing during initiation rites has been prohibited under the law. He claimed that he even helped Matmat during the initiation rites, but also admitted that he helped in burying Salilig's body.
Alam mo, may binabayulit kang batas. Alam mo, in the first place.
Opo, sir.
Alam mo.
Opo.
Pero bakit tinuloy pa rin ninyo? Ginawa pa rin ninyo?
Sir, kasi dapat po yun i-stop na po. Titigil na po yung i-re-rescue na po kasi wala po talagang mahanap na venue that time. Then, yung ibang, may brads po na nag-offer ng venue po.
The administration of Adamson University revealed that Tau Gamma Phi is not registered in the university, as they do not recognize fraternities and sororities except the 3 organizations in the College of Law. However, senators grilled its Office of Student Affairs over its conduct of orientation to students about the Anti-Hazing Law, after some of the suspects who are also Adamson students claimed that they have never attended such a seminar.
Wala kayong narinig na orientation? Hindi kayo na-orient ng school?
Wala po, sir.
So, sino nagsasabi na totoo ngayon dito, attorney?
Your Honor, it's on record that we have these activities. As early as 2018, our captive audience are usually our first year and second year from the NSTP classes, Your Honor.
It's tantamount to saying that wala kami pakialam sa inyo, mga fraternity. But you know of the existence of these fraternities in the school. Alam mo na mayroong mga fraternity sa loob ng eskwelahan ninyo.
There are no, Honor, but I do not know them personally. So,
suffice to say, alam mo may existence ng Tau Gamma Phi, ano pang yung ibang mga fraternity, alam mo na alive and kicking yan doon sa loob ng campus niyo. Alam mo?
They are alleged presence, Your Honor.
They are this presence. So alam pala ninyo na meron yan, bakit hindi ninyo ni-regulate? So ibig sabihin, nanghugas kamay lang kayo.
Pero you should have done something. Kaso walang ginawa, ibig sabihin INUTIL ka.
Your Honor, we don't know them until they perform acts such as this, no?
Senators are looking into amending the law by holding schools and universities liable by imposing greater penalties, such as possible suspension of operations. Senator Raffy Tulfo also recommended including the owners of the initiation rights venue, who could be sanctioned with life imprisonment. As of now, 6 personalities remain at large in connection with Salilig's death. The Senate panel will also hold another hearing to tackle the case of another hazing incident in Cebu, also involving the Tau Gamma Phi fraternity. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, at the Senate hearing of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights earlier today, March 7, Roy de la Cruz, aka Diesel, narrates what he witnessed in the hazing incident that caused the death of John Matthew Salilig. Diesel is the only neophyte whom John Matthew has been with during the hazing rites. He will also stand as a survivor complainant in the case. The Department of Justice confirmed that alias Diesel is not in the witness protection program of the DOJ. Binyan City also confirmed this, but they said there is a security plan in place for the witnesses and complainants in the case. The NBI has asked the PNP Binyan for a case conference to discuss the case before they file complaints against all the suspects in DOJ. Currently, 4 persons of interest have surrendered to the NBI, 7 have been charged, 1 is dead, and 6 are at the largest.
The Bureau of Corrections, or BFAR, announced that they will postpone the planned construction of facilities in the Masungi Geo Reserve in Rizal. In today's hearing of the Senate Committee on Tourism, BFAR Director General Gregorio Catapang Jr. confirmed that they will put on hold the proposed relocation of its headquarters and the new Bilibid prison. This as studies have yet to be conducted, including its possible effects to the environment.
Most importantly, the 270 hectares of land awarded to BFAR pursuant to Presidential Proclamation number 1158 as the site of the new Bilibid prison will no longer push through, including the plan to relocate its national headquarters to this site, will be held in abeyance pending further studies to be undertaken, taking into consideration the impact on the environment with the construction of BFAR facilities in the area.
The House Committee on Agriculture and Food continues its inquiry into the alleged manipulation of the supply and price of agricultural products. Amid the investigation, the House panel cited 3 individuals in contempt, including 2 officials of a cold storage facility. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Argo Trading, one of the resource persons during the House panel probe, refused to provide documents to aid in the said investigation. Lawmakers have requested trading documents from cold storage facilities, hoping to aid them in figuring out the root cause of hoarding and high onion prices. To comply with the request, Argo Trading, however, refused. John Patrick Sevilla, operations manager of Argo, said the service agreements cannot be submitted since the said documents are confidential. The Solons, however, did not accept his argument.
Even if there is a provision in the service contract that it is confidential, that will not be binding on us. Otherwise, ang gagawin lang lahat ng dokumento, may confidentially close para hindi madala rin sa Kongreso. We cannot accept that.
Lawmakers also reiterated that inventory records and documents are relevant to the investigation. Aside from Sevilla, also cited in contempt are Argo President Efren Zoleta Jr. and legal counsel Attorney John Ryan Cruz. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Plant Industry was questioned why there are still unaccredited cold storage facilities operating.
Kung ikaw ay not accredited at pinuntahan mo, ang dapat mong sabihin is sarado ka na kasi hindi ka compliant. So nakakapagtaka, nagpa-picture pa po kayo sa Argo. Hindi ba dapat pinasara nyo na po?
BPI Director Glenn Panganiban welcomes the recommendation of lawmakers and said they have already given out show cause orders to unaccredited cold storage facilities.
We issued show cause orders na po para po doon sa mga hindi pa talaga. Sa ngayon po siguro nag-ooperate pa rin.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
8.6% inflation rate for the month of February was recorded by the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, and transport served as the main contributor to the slowdown of the inflation. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA released today, March 7, the inflation rate for the month of February, which recorded 8.6%.
Ang headline inflation, ang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga produkto at serbisyo sa bansa, ay bumagal sa antas na 8.6% nitong Pebrero 2023.
This is slightly lower than the 8.7% inflation rate in January 2023. According to PSA Undersecretary and National Statistician Dennis Mapa, the main contributors to the 8.6% inflation is the deceleration in transport with 9.0% from the 11.1% inflation last January. Gasoline plays a contribution to transport with 3.8% inflation from 9.6% in January, diesel with 14.2% for February, and motorcycle with 2.7%. He added that the implementation of transport strike in the country may impact the inflation for this month.
Titingnan natin kung magkakaroon ng pagbabago sa fare kasi isa sa mga components ng ating transport group ay yung pamasahe. If there are changes, this will be reflected sa ating CPI report for the month of March.
Meanwhile, Department of Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno said the decrease rate of the inflation for February month is a good news to gradually slowing down the inflation rate in the country.
First, good news, nag-level up na, baka slightly pababa, and that we forecast that maybe by around October, it will go down to the 4%, 2 to 4% level.
The inflation rate in National Capital Region reported a bit higher from 8.6% to 8.7%, while regions outside Metro Manila slowed down from 8.7% to 8.5%. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Ukraine appoints a new anti-corruption chief, but anti-corruption war dogs are raising questions about the newly appointed chief's independence. Ia De Vera explains why live. Yes, Ia?
Kath, on Monday, March 6, Ukraine has appointed Semen Krivonos as the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, or NABU's director, in an effort to tackle concerns around graft and corruption as the Western allies' aid for Ukraine continues to mount. Until his recent appointment, Semen Krivonos has served as the head of the State Inspectorate for Architecture and Urban Planning. Ukraine's Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal appointed Krivonos out of 3 finalists and will serve a 7-year term. The move also becomes an important factor for Ukraine after the European Union or EU makes tackling corruption a priority for Kyiv before membership negotiations for the 27-member bloc can continue. Meanwhile, Kyiv non-profit organization Anti-Corruption Action Center, or ANTAC, raised concerns over Krivonos's lack of experience and alleged ties to Ukraine's presidential office, stating that they are continuously monitoring the work of NABU for this reason. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Ia de Vera, reporting live from New Zealand. Amid the wave of government restrictions from the U.S., the European Union and Canada, the video sharing app TikTok has just launched Project Clover, a new effort aimed at convincing European users that the social media is safeguarding their data. Nerissa Dando tells us the details live. Nerissa?
Good evening, Kath. TikTok executives met with British political advisors and policymakers in London Monday, March 6 for a new project briefing they call Project Clover. It is similar to Project Texas, which was aimed at assuring American users that their data will not be stored in the servers of the Beijing-based platform, but in those of an Austin, Texas-based partner, Oracle. With Project Clover, TikTok has disclosed plans of hiring a third party to monitor data transfers and changes to its algorithm for video recommendations. While attendees of TikTok's UK briefing, such as US-based General Counsel Eric Anderson, acknowledged TikTok's effort to provide transparency and independent oversight, there are still looming concerns about a data handover to the Chinese government, as well as propaganda promotion. TikTok has responded by saying that it will not comply with such demands and has data security measures that are industry-leading compared to competitors such as Meta's Facebook. In the coming weeks, the ByteDance-owned tech giant is expected to announce further details about Project Clover's implementation. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Nerissa Dando, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Maraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
The Department of Health says vulnerable groups need to be relocated in a safer area following the oil spill incident in Oriental Mindoro. Gladys Tuabi will tell us why.
Some residents in Oriental Mindoro experienced short-term health symptoms following the oil spill incident in the area. Among these are dizziness, headaches, and shortness of breath.
So ang mga tao, it would depend on the mode of exposure. Halimbawa, sila ay na-expose sa hangin, maaari na ma-aggravate ang kanilang mga existing respiratory conditions, katulad ng mga may hika, katulad ng may mga emphysema.
At least one person was admitted for aggravated asthma but has been managed and discharged.
Na-aggravate yung kanyang hika kaya kinakailangan dalhin sa ospital. Naka-recover siya, within that day also, recovered naman na naagapan yung kanyang atake ng hika.
Because of the health risk, senior citizens had to be relocated to a safer area.
Doon sa mga nakatira within 100 meters, kailangan i-relocate ang mga matatanda at may mga sakit sa baga. Lalabas sila at dadalhin doon sa mga kamag-anak na medyo malayo-layo doon sa lugar na yon.
Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The provincial government of Oriental Mindoro has declared a state of calamity in 78 coastal barangays from the 9 municipalities affected by the oil spill. The declaration has been issued by authorities for the measures that will be taken to prevent further oil leaks from the sunken MT Princess Empress. Alan Manansala will tell us why.
Using Malayan Towage and Salvage Corporation tugboat hired by the contractors of RDC's Real Marine Services Incorporated, the owner of the sunken oil tanker, management for the oil leak has already started. According to Captain Jonathan Vega, the Marine Superintendent of Malayan, stated that based on their study, the spilling of oil from its source is intermittent or not continuous. It is also difficult to place an oil spill boom that will control the spread of oil because of high sea waves, a thing that delays the operation.
Sobrang lakas ng alon, you cannot identify the actual source. So hinihintay namin yung from Namria, yung actual GPS position ng source.
According to Malayan, there's another vessel that will arrive from their company carrying a mechanical robot that will be used to suction oils from the sea. Some officials of Harbor Star have now been mobilized and other hired contractors from the RDCs that are engaged in cleaning the shorelines to find residents that can help with the clearing operation, where Harbor Star will identify families affected by the oil spill, request for their assistance and compensate them for it.
Siyempre limited lang din po dahil kung ilan lang kailangan, for example, sa isang area, 10 tao lang po yun. Kung gaano katagal ang paglilinis, yun lang po ang may bibigay natin. Kung ano man yung compensation na kailangan ng mga taong bayan, I think it's up to the mayors ng bayan kung paano sila mako-compensate.
Based on their assessment, it may take another 3 months to completely clean the affected shoreline. Foreign specialists that will help with the clearing operation for the oil spill have also arrived in Oriental Mindoro. Meanwhile, 78 coastal barangays from 9 municipalities of Oriental Mindoro are now under a state of calamity, which included the city of Pola, which first declared a state of calamity. This is where each affected barangay can use their calamity funds, mostly when more than 15,000 fishermen have lost their jobs since the local government has forbidden them to fish due to the ocean oil spill that could bring them illness. There will also be a price freeze on all basic and prime commodities. In relation to this, Governor Humerlito Dolor has also started to distribute aid in Barangay Kalima, Pola Oriental, Mindoro, wherein the primary distribution was a clean drinking water for the residents and family food packs given by the DSWD. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Our Kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the Global Prayer for Humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 36. It says, "Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful." Those are the reasons behind the news, March 7, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Arnie Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.